skies for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
Thanks for joining us. Before we jump in, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We're getting closer to our goal of 10,000 subscribers, and your support makes all the difference. Now, let's get into it. Country music icon Carrie Underwood has just rocked the entertainment world with a lawsuit no one saw coming, an eye-popping $800 million legal battle against The View and several of its co-hosts. She's accusing Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, and others of defamation, claiming their on-air comments didn't just cross the line, they attacked her character and damaged her reputation. This isn't just about money, it's about accountability. For years, The View has been known for its strong opinions, but Carrie is making it clear, this time, they went too far. The internet is on fire, fans are divided, and what started with a few bold remarks is now spiraling into a high-stakes legal showdown that could change the way celebrity and media boundaries are drawn. And it all traces back to one controversial moment, Carrie's decision to perform at Donald Trump's presidential inauguration.
Carrie Underwood will take the stage at Trump's inauguration singing America the Beautiful. She said to the Post, "I love our country and I'm honored to have been asked to sing at the inauguration and to be a small part of this historic event. I am humbled to answer the call at a time when we must all come together in the spirit of unity and looking to the future." Well, that wasn't good enough for the tolerant left, of course, who is outraged over Carrie being outed as MAGA. X is blowing up with jokes about how she should sing her hit song Before He Cheats. Some are calling for her to be boycotted and canceled. John Rich weighed in, saying there are several top-tier country artists who support Trump, and I wish they'd finally have the balls to come forward and be counted. Ain't nothing outlaw about keeping your mouth shut to appease the record label. Carrie Underwood is making you look like a bunch of sissy boys. Carrie is talented, she is graceful, she is a class act, she has great legs, not that it matters, but she is everything that the tolerant left is not.
What started as a patriotic gesture quickly turned into a firestorm of controversy. When Carrie Underwood announced she would perform America the Beautiful at Donald Trump's presidential inauguration, she framed it as an act of unity. In her public statement, she expressed love for her country and called the event a historic moment, urging Americans to come together during a time of deep division. Her tone was hopeful, focused on healing, not politics, but not everyone took it that way. The internet exploded with mixed reactions. Some praised her bravery, calling the performance a much-needed symbol of grace in a tense political climate. Others, however, were outraged, accusing her of aligning herself with Trump's administration and betraying the values they believed she represented. Social media became a digital battleground, with hashtags of support and backlash trending side by side. Praise poured in on one side, while calls for boycotts and cancellation rang out from the other. Carrie had stepped into a political minefield, and the fallout was far greater than anyone anticipated. What began as a musical performance had now become a polarizing political statement, and that's when The View jumped into the conversation and took things to a whole new level.
So I get why she did it.
I see.
I mean, right? And it's country music. I think
I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't do it, even though I
You
can't
would
sing.
not sing?
No, I would not. I would not normalize him. And she says, I love our country. How do you love your country and support and normalize somebody who was a convicted felon who really wants to destroy the country, in my opinion? I don't understand how you say you love your country at the same time as you normalize this convicted felon, which I can say now every day.
A lot of my family voted for Trump. They love the country and vote for him. I think that people make these decisions
Fine.
for a lot of reasons.
Okay, fine. And I would not be the person to say don't do it, because I believe in free speech and everything about it. I personally would not do it. No one's asked me, but that's another story.
When The View chimed in, the situation escalated fast. During a heated segment on Carrie Underwood's performance at the inauguration, co-hosts Joy Behar and Sunny Hostin didn't hold back. This wasn't casual commentary, it was a full-on verbal takedown. Joy questioned Carrie's patriotism, bluntly asking how someone could claim to love their country while, in her words, normalizing a convicted felon, a direct shot at Donald Trump. She made it crystal clear, in her view, Carrie's performance wasn't just a song, it was a political statement. Sunny backed her up, saying she would never accept an invitation to perform at such an event. The tone was sharp, the criticism intense, and the implication unavoidable. They believed Carrie wasn't just singing, she was aligning herself with something they stood firmly against. What might have been a personal choice wrapped in patriotism was, in their eyes, a bold endorsement of a controversial figure. And that's exactly where things started spiraling toward the courtroom.
They did what they did. They felt that's what they needed to do, and I got to stand behind them.
Yeah.
You know, and I stand behind her no, not or not, because if I believe I have the right to make up my mind to go perform someplace, I believe they have the same right.
Of course.
And so I have to, I have to support. Doesn't mean I'm particularly interested in what I won't be watching, you know, but that's me.
The comments from The View lit a fuse that set the internet ablaze. Supporters of Carrie Underwood called the segment an outright attack, not just a critique, while others applauded the hosts for speaking truth to power. But amidst the noise and division on social media, one thing was undeniable. The View had just thrown gasoline on a fire that was already burning hot. Carrie, however, didn't react publicly. No press interviews. No social media rants. Just silence on the surface. But behind the scenes, she was strategizing, and her response would come, not with words, but through the legal system. Instead of firing back on talk shows or Twitter, Carrie quietly began working with her legal team. Then, the entertainment world was rocked with a bombshell, a staggering $800 million defamation lawsuit filed against The View and its co-hosts. According to the filing, this wasn't about criticism, it was about defamation. Carrie's team argued that the hosts made false and damaging statements that went far beyond protected opinion. The impact? Her reputation, career, and brand relationships took a serious hit. This wasn't just a legal fight, it was a matter of principle. Carrie's message was loud and clear: media personalities need to be held accountable for what they say on platforms that influence millions. She was done being painted with a political brush she never asked for, and now she was reclaiming her narrative in court. Suddenly, The View found itself in unfamiliar territory, not just stirring controversy, but at the center of a full-blown legal and PR crisis. As news of the lawsuit broke, panic reportedly swept through the production. Behind the scenes, once confident co-hosts like Joy Behar and Sunny Hostin were now scrambling, reportedly pleading with Carrie to settle the matter quietly. Why the urgency? Because this wasn't just about a financial payout, it was about credibility. If the case proceeded, they could be forced to publicly defend their words under oath, exposing behind-the-scenes decisions, editorial strategies, and even personal biases. That kind of transparency could do serious damage, not just to individual reputations, but to the legacy of the show itself. But Carrie didn't blink. Insiders say she stood firm, making it clear that this lawsuit was about more than personal vindication. It was about challenging a media culture that, in her eyes, too often hides behind the shield of opinion to justify harmful commentary. She wasn't just defending her name. She was drawing a line, and the public noticed. As the legal drama heated up, a wave of support flooded in. Fans rallied around Carrie, not just with encouragement, but with a growing sense that this wasn't just her fight anymore. It had become something bigger. Carrie Underwood wasn't just defending herself. She was taking on the entire media machine. What began as a controversy surrounding a single performance quickly exploded into something far bigger. Carrie Underwood transformed overnight, from country music royalty into a fearless symbol of resistance against media overreach. Accountability started dominating social media. Fans weren't just defending a celebrity, they were rallying behind a cause. One viral tweet captured the spirit perfectly. Carrie Underwood isn't just defending herself. She's calling out a toxic media culture. Absolute queen energy. Memes flooded the internet, painting Carrie as calm, composed, and dignified, the very embodiment of grace under fire. In stark contrast, The View's co-hosts were portrayed as rattled, panicked, and on the defensive. The public's tone had shifted. This wasn't just about entertainment anymore. The lawsuit sparked a firestorm that stretched well beyond Hollywood. Commentators, podcasters, legal analysts, everyone weighed in. The question wasn't just, did The View go too far? It was, where should the line be drawn when it comes to public commentary? For many, Carrie's bold stand symbolized a growing demand for accountability, not just from politicians or tech giants, but from the very voices that shape public opinion every single day. This wasn't just about Carrie's music. It wasn't even about her image. It was about power, influence, and who gets to define the narrative behind the scenes. Chaos erupted. Reports began leaking that ABC executives were in full-blown damage control. Emergency meetings, crisis strategy calls. Rumors swirled that high-level bosses were urging Joy Behar and Sunny Hostin to issue public apologies, not just to calm the outrage, but to protect the very future of The View. And make no mistake, the pressure wasn't just public, it was corporate. ABC wasn't just worried about bad press. They were terrified of the legal precedent this lawsuit could set. If Carrie won, it could change everything. What happens when live commentary becomes legally risky? Could every opinion now carry a price tag? If a celebrity like Carrie could successfully sue over on-air remarks, talk shows across the country might be forced to rethink everything, from editorial guidelines to the way they handle controversy. Even more telling? The silence inside The View, notably Whoopi Goldberg, typically one of the first to defend her co-hosts, stayed unusually quiet. Some insiders claimed she was working behind the scenes, trying to mediate. Others believed she understood just how serious the fallout had become, because this wasn't just a social media storm anymore. It had become a reckoning. Public outrage zeroed in on Joy Behar and Sunny Hostin. Fans didn't just want apologies, they wanted accountability. Many believed the remarks made about Carrie weren't political critiques, they were personal attacks. Petitions demanding their removal gained momentum. Online forums exploded. Longtime viewers, even some who didn't consider themselves Carrie Underwood fans, began questioning the integrity of the show. What made this moment different wasn't just the backlash, it was the scale of it. Carrie's lawsuit struck a nerve. And in doing so, she tapped into a growing frustration with media personalities who, in the eyes of many, had grown too comfortable wielding their platforms without consequence. And while Joy and Sunny faced the brunt of the criticism, Whoopi Goldberg's silence became deafening. Her absence from the debate was seen by some as complicity, by others as quiet dissent. Either way, it added fuel to a fire that wasn't going out anytime soon, because this was no longer just about Carrie Underwood, this was about something bigger. Her $800 million lawsuit was more than a legal action, it was a line in the sand. A declaration that public figures, no matter how famous, have the right to protect their name, their integrity, and their truth. For years, celebrities have been misrepresented by media outlets with little to no accountability. Carrie, however, said enough. In her view, The View didn't just criticize a performance, they questioned her patriotism, her motives, and her character, and that was a step too far. Carrie's decision to fight back wasn't just bold, it was historic. It raised serious, uncomfortable questions. Should talk shows have the freedom to say anything under the umbrella of opinion? Where's the line between critique and defamation? And what happens when that line is crossed, whether she wins or loses in court? One thing is certain, Carrie Underwood has changed the conversation. Networks are now on notice. Talk show hosts are feeling the heat. The days of hiding behind the safety net of entertainment might be coming to an end. Because now, words have consequences. For Joy Behar and Sunny Hostin, the fallout is still unfolding. Between fan backlash, internal network pressure, and a looming courtroom battle, their futures on the show are more uncertain than ever. Even a settlement might not be enough to restore the public's trust, but no matter how this ends, Carrie Underwood has already made her mark. She didn't just start a legal fight. She sparked a movement. One that's forcing the media industry to confront a question it's long ignored. When does commentary stop being commentary and start being character assassination? The answer to that question might change television forever. If you found this video thought-provoking, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and let us know your thoughts in the comments below. This story isn't over, and neither is the fight for media accountability. See you in the next one.